Hey traders, what's up? This is the watch list video for Thursday, January 12th. It's worth noting that the CPI numbers come out in the morning. Could have a big effect on the market one way or the other. I'm not smart enough to figure out what number is going to do what to the market, so it's worth knowing, right? The daily on the SPY is starting to curl up. It's holding up really well. Let me bring over. I'll get the small little chart that I have on the daily um, because it's got the 200 day on it, that purple line right there. And let me pan out a little farther. You can kind of see the 200 day back here was sort of a top. Back here came up and hit it again. Did it again here and right back below here. So we'll see. The 200 day does have a somewhat significant relationship with the SPY though. So I do think that's worth knowing too. Anyway, who knows what the market's going to do in the pre-market on the CPI numbers. Anything can happen. Those famous 3 words from Mark Douglas are always in my brain as a day trader. And speaking of day trading, it is worth pointing out too, in case you're seeing my video for the first time, I am a day trader. I'm in cash every night. I focus on what I call in-play stocks, which are recently high relative volume stocks that have made big moves, and the morning gappers that are gapping on news because those are also in play. So I focus on in-play stocks. The daily chart plays a role, but mostly I'm playing in-play stocks on an intraday basis, only trading A-plus setups that we teach on an intraday basis. I make my money between the bells, and then I'm back in cash every night. All right, anyway, what are we watching? Well, let me give a couple highlights from today. There's some pretty cool calls in the chat room. BWEN was gapping, switched to 5-minute candles, and it looked about like this when Ramesh in chat gave the idea of the opening range breakout, which would just be right over the high of day, 398. And look what happened. It went up so fast, it got the halt at 460, ended up going all the way up to 5. Great post by Ramesh. LASE, Ramesh also gave the high of day break idea on this one when it looked about like this. I had pointed out that it was heading back to the high of day when it looked like this. I didn't officially say, hey, I like this over 310. I put something in the chat like LASE nearing high of day, something like that, which, was basically the opening range breakout. That's where I took it on the 310 break. And we went pretty quickly to 330, a little higher than flagged. And then Ramesh gave the idea over this, which was 337. And that was the ripper, right? So Ramesh with 2 really nice heads up today. BIOR, Gunil gave this idea, which you had the early high of 680, then it put in a lower high of 650, came down, tested the 5 buy zone both times. Gunil gave the idea over 650, and boom, right? Again, you got another, I believe, a halter because it moved up so fast. So love the stuff that works right away. And then late in the day, I gave the AMV. Let's see, the high of this candle. Let me go to like 2-minute candles to show you. But this was definitely like the in-play stock. I traded it a few times today, but the one idea, other than pullbacks, was right about here. Let's see. This lower high was 832. The earlier high was 874. And after this crazy run, you almost expect shorts to win and for it to come back down. But really, all it did was flag right here and then gave a big push higher. I didn't want to chase it, so I waited to see what it did. It put in a lower high of 832. I typed in something in chat. I'm paraphrasing, like AMV just put in a lower high of 832, and the earlier high was 874. The intimation there is that back through 832 might get us through the high of day and squeeze the shorts. And that's exactly what happened. And it went all the way up to 1130 without hitting the stop. So there was some highlights from the chat room today. I'm going to go right in now to what I'm watching for tomorrow. KALA, right back on bounce watch. Now it's down near the 20-day. The 200-day, you can't see it on this chart, but is also in this area. So I like it probably more than I have since I started watching it for a bounce. I mean, I had this crazy move back here, and now it's worked its way back down. So pretty good setup. I'll only take it with a proper intraday setup as far as the bounce plays. You guys in chat know how I play those. I have to zoom way in. Look what happens. The HKD had such a crazy move back here that what that does is compress all the daily candles and you can't see them, so you got to kind of zoom in. It had this crazy move all the way up to 37.72 and then just keeps putting in lower highs, a bunch of red days, volumes declining. I had it on Bounce Watch a couple days in a row. No triggers in it today. It goes right back. Goes right back on Bounce Watch for tomorrow. Even though it's pretty much round tripped, I still think a lot of traders watching this that this could give a pretty, if it meets our A+ intraday setup, it could give a pretty nice percentage move in a pretty short period of time. So as a day trader, I'd be screwing up if I didn't at least have it on a chart, knowing the potential that it has for a trade, right? RVNC, let me pan out a little bit here. Big rip 3 sessions ago. Now you got 2 days lower, declining volume. Excuse me, I'm putting that on Bounce Watch. INM. When I'm zoomed out like this, you can kind of see the setup pretty clean, right? Back here, it topped out at 303. Today's high, 277. I'll zoom in a little bit. But closed all the way at 229. So it's kind of on watch, but one of these days, if it breaks over this 277, it could easily rip through this 303 and squeeze. So that's why it's on watch. May or may not be trades in it tomorrow. BWEN, already talked about this one being on the gap playlist in chat today, and Ramesh's great idea. It definitely goes on watch tomorrow. It's interesting that it topped out at the whole number 5. It did have good news today, so we're certainly going to watch that for the next several days. CTMX is a weird one. I don't love this, but it had the gap up, and right now it's just chopping sideways. It's not rolling over, so I am going to watch it. Certainly not in love with it. AMV, massive volume today. Got to keep this one on watch for several days. LASE, again, I talked about this one. Big breakout today. Closing probably in about the middle of its range, though. But definitely nice volume. They had a nice headline this morning. This one, and I made really good money in this one, trading it, I think, a couple times. I'm definitely going to watch this one tomorrow. Let me type it right here. CVNA, which is Carvana. Big volume today, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Let me zoom in a little bit more. The most recent high was back here on this, what I call an island down here after the gap down. Apparently, there's a lot of shorts in the name, just following traders that I follow on Twitter. 594 is the high of this island, and then today it hit 583. When I say island, means above that you're kind of up into this gap. So certainly an interesting setup, and held up pretty well. And with the big short position, and you could argue some nice support from the last couple weeks below, definitely belongs on long watch. And then NOTV, kind of a mini breakout today, and we'll see if that gives it looked like it had a nice headline. See if it's a follow through setup tomorrow. We'll add gappers together as we always do in the pre-market, and hopefully find some really nice trades again tomorrow. That's it for me. I'm done babbling. We'll see you guys in the chat room.